Greetings, fellow Earthlings, and welcome to Tales from the Hoop, a podcast dedicated to diving into the weird, wild, and wacky stories from basketball history. I am your host, Ricky Freck, and today I'm telling a story about what can happen when talent isn't quite enough to my brother.
Lazy Dave.
So today's episode is going to be kind of short. Also, spoiler alert, not too much basketball is going to happen in this episode, but it is a short but sweet one. So today,
Okay.
both of us have a lot going on. So we need to get out of here in, I don't know, like 30, 45 minutes. So you're going to have a short time with us today. Sorry. I know that's
Just
really, really a
just to get my
problem.
basketball dig in, since you're wearing your Spurs shirt,
Oh, yeah.
is the
One and three,
story
baby.
of
One and
of
three.
talent not being enough about Victor Wembanyama and how he crumbles under pressure of the Thunder defense?
One and three, baby. One and three. Interestingly, the guy in this story does have a connection to the Spurs, which I did not wear this shirt because of. It just was the next one on top of the pile. But
Yep.
he
Fair
does have a
enough.
Spurs connection. All right. So on June, I should say, sorry, before we begin, I should say a couple of trigger warnings for spousal abuse, murder,
Oh no.
and there's one other one I was thinking of, but I can't remember what it is. It's pretty related to spousal abuse. Oh, like I don't know, just like paranoid behavior. If that I don't know if that like bothers you. I don't know how to say that as a trigger warning, but let's just say that a person in the story does some pretty crazy stuff.
Okay.
So, on June 30th, 1959, and I'm probably going to butcher some of these names, I did find a video, which we'll talk about in a little bit, of one of the people giving a disposition to the police, like the full him talking to him or her talking to the police, the person talking to the police, and explaining what happened in this situation. However, the video is narrated by AI, so I don't
Okay.
trust their
Yeah.
pronunciation.
We don't like that.
Yeah, so I'm gonna hope that I get it right, but I'll probably not. It was the only video I could find that talked about these people, which is kind of surprising given how relatively recent and high profile the case kind of was. So on June 30th, 1959, a man that I'm going to pronounce his name as Leonel Marquetti was born in Havana,
Okay.
Cuba.
Ooh, okay.
He lived in the country for the first several years of his life, but in 1974, his family moved to California for what the family called, quote, political reasons.
Okay.
So I don't know what that means. I'm assuming it's something to do with, uh, is it Fidel Castro, Cuba? This is not a history
Yep.
podcast, so I can be ignorant about that.
Fidel Castro is in Cuba, yes.
Okay, so I'm assuming it was had something to do with Fidel Castro. Maybe, I don't know.
The revolution, the communism. I mean, Bay of Pigs in the
Are you
50s and
just
60s.
saying
I don't,
words?
yeah, just
Okay.
buzzwords.
Okay, just checking. I mean, I was like, I've heard the Bay of Pigs, but I have no idea when that happened. And if
That
you,
was definitely in like around Kennedy's time in office.
1974,
I thought you said 59.
that was when he was born. They left in
Oh,
74.
oh, fair enough. I don't know. Kennedy was 60s, right?
I think, didn't he get assassinated in like 63, 64? When did we go to the
Yeah, we
moon?
went to the 1969.
Oh, we did? Okay, so he
Yeah,
was later than I thought. So you're
yeah,
probably right. It probably was had to do with the Bay of Pigs. He left because of the Bay of Pigs,
yeah.
is what Dave is saying.
That's where we're going with. That's what AI said.
So the Cuban refugees settled in Linwood with Marchetti's father working as a tile setter. I almost made a comment, but I'm going to keep it to
Keep
myself.
it, keep it.
Marchetti was growing quickly, and in ninth grade, he was playing in a park league when he was noticed by a man named Rudy Washington. Now, anytime I'm going to give you guys a peek behind the curtain of how these episodes usually go. Anytime I bring up a man, a basketball player that was noticed by a guy, that guy's probably not a very good guy.
Yeah,
But in this case, he's fine. But just for the future, a lot of times when I say he was noticed by a guy, that usually means like the guy brought him in and then tried to like extort money out of him. But in this case, it's
mm,
okay because
okay.
Washington was actually doing some scouting at the time for the University of South Carolina, no, excuse me, California's football team. I was even thinking you need to make sure you say this right instead of just saying
Yeah,
USC. Don't say Carolina. And as I was thinking that, I said it wrong.
that's generally when you say things wrong, is when you decide you're not going to say them wrong.
when you think in your head as you're reading, please don't say this wrong. I know
Yeah.
you've messed this up on a video before. Please don't do it. Rudy Washington was also coaching the JV basketball team at Locke High School in Los Angeles. So he was very well connected in the Los Angeles sports scene.
Okay. Okay.
So he, Marquetti, and another young player named Maurice Williams became pretty tight. So this man, who I'm going to guess is like, I mean, I can actually do the math. He was probably about 22, 21, 22, is hanging out with a couple of ninth graders. So that's weird.
Yep.
But again,
Not the
it's
best.
it's fine. It's fine. Nothing weird happened that we know of with this part of the story. Because the trio, they all like to play basketball. They all like to listen to rap music. They would
Yep.
go hang out at Washington's house, just hanging out. A lot of kids
Just a
would go
couple
over there.
guys. No big
It
deal.
was like it's imagine it was like a basketball youth pastor, right? That's
Yeah, I
what
was
Rudy
gonna say
Washington is.
that was like much more common. I feel like, or as time has gone on, that's gotten less and less common. But it wasn't so abnormal back in the day to have like a older guy mentor that
Mm, yeah,
you know. I
yeah.
don't know. Maybe I'm like I feel
Trying to
like
think. Go ahead.
adults got hip to that in the last 20 years, where it's like we shouldn't have. But it was that doesn't make someone a creeper necessarily.
No, yeah, no, but the chance of there being a creeper
Yeah,
is
for sure.
people saw the episode of Different Strokes where Arnold and his friend go to that guy's house and they're like, "Hey, do you want to take your clothes off and pose to do these pictures at surfboarding?" And they were like, "Oh, this could happen to anybody." That's what happened.
Yeah,
It's all Different
yeah,
Strokes' fault that I didn't have
that's
a
right.
male mentor in my life besides my father,
That's
who
right.
was, hey, you know what? Adequate. No, I'm just kidding. He was much more than adequate.
Pretty good.
Very
Pretty
solid.
good.
And while we're talking about things I need to apologize for making jokes of, actually, this wasn't a joke, but if you do hear a person blowing leaves in the background, that's me, and I apologize. But we're just gonna have to deal with it because my neighbor has decided he's gonna do that at 11:15 in the morning.
That's right. Good for him.
I
Let's
mean, I
get it
do
out
it in
of
the
the way.
afternoon when people, when people are chilled out, maybe no one's sleeping or anything, but
Yeah.
some people aren't as nice as
Different
neighbors.
strokes.
Hey, there you go. So Marquetti eventually joined Rudy Washington at Locke High School, where he was coaching the JV team. However, he was quickly declared ineligible to play basketball because he was playing outside of the district he lived in. So he was not allowed to actually play under Washington there. Then Rudy Washington got a job as the head coach of a place, and I'm probably going to mispronounce this as well, called Verbum Dei, which is a private Catholic all boys school in Los Angeles. And he said, "You know who I need? I need my boys, Marquetti and Williams." So they both transferred to play under Washington, both of them solid high school basketball players, but it was Marquetti who became the star.
Okay. Yep.
During his senior year, Marquetti's vertical leap was measured at 43 inches. Pretty high. My man
Yeah.
could jump.
Yeah. Big
He
time.
was he was a 6'7" center who was putting up about 18 points and 16 rebounds a night as a senior. And he was like he was talking about how he used to, very very routinely his head was above the rim all the time. He could jump out of the gym, and people started calling him Spider-Man, which I don't really understand because
Because he could. Yeah. I
Spider
mean, he's very
Spider-Man doesn't
limber.
jump. Does Spider-Man have a jumping ability?
Yeah, for sure.
You say, are you sure?
He can like run across a. I feel like there's things in the movie where he's like bounding buildings and stuff,
Okay, I think that's a weak
bounding over.
nickname.
It's not the best.
I always thought
Maybe it
there's
was like of the times. When did Spider-Man come out? You know what I mean?
I'm pretty sure like the 50s, but I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Maybe he did this when he
Well, that's
landed.
why. So I was gonna say there was a guy on the N1 mixtape tour named Spida, but the reason he was called Spida was because he would jump up and dunk it and then hang upside down like a spider,
Hmm.
which makes a lot more sense than like, hey, this guy can jump.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna
Yeah.
hang upside down like a black widow, like waiting for your prey after you dunk the basketball, I can understand calling you Spider-Man or Spida.
Right.
But if you're just going to like jump high, Spider-Man, not a great nickname.
Maybe if he had like sticky, like caught the ball with one hand.
If he had sticky.
No, like if he like is when he catches the ball, like sticks, like a receiver, like a
Hmm.
Spider-Man. You could call. I could see that.
Or if he like shot webs out of his arms to grab the ball, that would be cool too. then he
I
could be Spider-Man.
feel
Who
like
would, okay,
Spider-Man
real
might be
quick,
appropriate there.
really quickly. We don't have to take a lot of time on this. Who is your number one draft pick Marvel superhero for a basketball team?
For a basketball team,
Yeah.
I'm not super deep, so I feel like there's an answer out there where
Oh,
it's
for
like
sure. Yeah, we're probably going to
this
be wrong.
this guy could be the answer. But I think
So you got your X-Men, you got your Captain America, probably sucks. Captain
I
America is definitely bad at basketball.
I feel like Hulk is probably the answer
You think
because
Hulk would
he's a
he
two-way
even
player.
you think Hulk's the answer?
He's a two-way player,
But
yeah.
he
Like
would tear up the court. You wouldn't be able to play.
how are you getting past? How are you getting to the hoop
How are
when
you
Hulk's
playing? How are you
in the
playing
paint?
basketball? How is Hulk playing basketball?
How are any of them playing basketball?
I think like Beast from the X-Men could very easily play basketball.
What's I don't they have the same like power sets?
No, Beast is like completely in control of it. He's Kelsey Grammer. He's like the smartest man in the world and also really athletic.
Okay, Smart Hulk from the Infinity Saga.
Okay, I thought you said you weren't deep into this. What happened?
Sorry, that's what I'm saying. I'm a movie watcher. I'm sure there's
Oh, okay.
some like Fantastic Four comic where they're like, "Oh, this kid
Ooh,
actually had
Mr.
basketball powers."
Mr. Fantastic. What's his name?
Incredible,
Mr. Is it Mr. Incredible?
Mr. Fantastic, Mr. Incredible. I don't know.
Reed Richards, the guy who leads the
Yeah,
Fantastic
that's a
Four
good answer.
with his stretchy arms, a good answer.
It's a good
Invisigirl,
answer.
not a bad answer for defense. I don't know how good
But
she is. She might not have a wet jumper, but
Hulk
on
also would
defense,
just like rip him apart.
I I just think I think he's gonna like foul out immediately.
I
And if
guess
he
if
doesn't,
you're playing regulation ball,
yeah,
then
that's the point. We're playing real basketball.
okay. I thought you meant like all superheroes team.
No,
It's going a little crazy,
well,
but
I mean, sure, they could be all superheroes, but we they have to follow the rules.
I still think Hulk is if
Is
you
there
could control him.
is there any metal in a basketball? Because
No.
then Magneto becomes a definite. I mean, Magneto one, first of all, if there's metal in a
Yeah.
basketball, he could just control it with his mind. Two, when you shoot the basketball, he just like slightly moves the rim to make you
Well,
miss
then
it.
so Xavier would be number one, right? He could control
Oh,
all those things.
yeah, but it's not as fun.
And he wouldn't have to like he could just take the ball all the time without fouling. It's
Okay,
really,
we made this unfun. Let's get back to the story.
yeah, game
Reportedly,
breaker.
Marquetti had over 300 college offers from teams hoping to recruit him, which is pretty common, I think. Like
300?
they always bring this up. Yeah, I feel like they're always like, "Oh, I had 400 offers." Oh, I had like
Oh,
that.
dang.
Every like top recruit is like, "Oh, I had so many offers,"
Hmm.
which is
I
like,
always thought like five was a lot.
no, I
Is
mean
that
like
just what they report? Those are like their top five?
so yeah, and like
Okay.
an offer is just like I'm going to send you a letter. Anybody could send you a
Okay.
letter, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, but a lot of times you only report or you only like you narrow it down pretty quickly. You're not I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think like everybody's reporting every single offer they get.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Anyways, Marquetti was one of the McDonald's All-Americans in 1978. So he played in the first ever East versus West format that the event still uses. And it's technically the second McDonald's All-American game, but the first one is kind of weird. We don't have to get into that. I have a whole video about it on my YouTube channel if you want to figure out what's going on there. But we'll go ahead and say that the 1978 class is notable because it is one of the worst in the history of the event.
Okay.
There's
Fun.
almost no pro players that came
Oh,
out of
yikes.
the McDonald's All American class in 1978. The most high profile player, not including our man Marquetti, is Mark Aguirre. Do you know Mark Aguirre?
I know Mark Maguire, but not Aguirre.
So close. Played
Is
for
he
the
he was like a NBA player, Aguirre?
Mark Aguirre. Yeah, he played for the Dallas Mavericks.
I thought it was
I
a
think he made the All Star game.
my whole life I thought it was Aguirre.
I'm. Ooh, am I wrong? I hope I'm not
I
wrong. If
don't
I'm
know. I
wrong, I
have no idea.
apologize.
I just that's always how I've said it. I think he was in one of the like Super Nintendo NBA Jams or
Yeah,
something.
for
I've
sure.
definitely played as him in a
Yeah,
game or two.
he's like a hang time guy for sure. He's of that era. So before signing with the school, Marquetti and Williams learned that Rudy Washington, the guy who had met them when they were in ninth grade and he was in his 20s, had been offered a college job. So they're
Okay.
trying to decide, hey, where are we going to go play? They're both pretty good. And their friend? and coach, gets offered a college job. He's going to be an assistant coach at USC. So, as you can
Okay.
probably guess, Marquetti and Williams both followed him to USC. Now, of course, it's in their home, pretty close to their hometown. I don't know. Right, USC is in LA, right? Or no, that's UCLA is
Yes.
in LA. Is USC also in LA? It's in Pasadena.
Stanford's the San Francisco one. I think USC's in LA,
I
but in
could
a
get.
different
I
location.
think so. I could be wrong, but either way, they're still in California, so it's
Yeah.
relatively close. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess California is a massive state, so it could be hundreds of miles away, but I'm assuming it's close. So unfortunately, Marquetti, when he got to school, quickly learned a very harsh truth. Being able to jump out of the gym doesn't guarantee your spot on a college roster. He
Hmm.
spent 2 years coming off the bench for the Trojans, while Williams became a pretty solid contributor.
Okay.
One of the big issues with Marquetti was that he'd been such a good center in high school, but now everyone that played the position was much bigger than him. Remember, he's 6 foot
Hmm.
7. He could jump high, but he's not a big dude. He's 6'7",
Yeah.
215.
Doesn't help.
So he wanted to move out to the wing or play at power forward. He wanted to get away from being a center.
Okay.
The problem with that is he grew up playing center, and so he didn't really have like the experience or really even the speed to play out on the wing and do it effectively. So they were like, no, you're going to play center.
Hmm.
So it's possible, right, that he could have worked his way into another position. Maybe they got another big guy and he could have switched to playing power forward eventually. He even put up 7 points a night as the team's sixth man in 1980. But then the coach who had recruited him, Bob Boyd, was sent away or left. I don't know exactly what happened, but Stan Morrison took over. And Marquetti said, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm going to transfer. I'm out of here. Don't need to play here. So he did not want to sit out a year. That was his big thing. He was like, I'm not sitting out a year. I'm going to play immediately. So he did not go play for another NCAA team. He was going to drop down a division and he was going to play for Cal State Fullerton. Now, here's where things get a little fuzzy. So we don't exactly know what happened. The only reports is that there were problems with his transcript. I don't know what that
Okay.
means.
Intriguing.
He had a like 2.95 GPA, so it's not like he was stupid. He's not an
Right.
idiot. But for whatever reason, something was up with his transcript. Cal State Fullerton would not let him transfer.
Okay. Interesting.
So instead, he switched to the Hampton Pirates. Now, people who were fans of the Detroit Pistons in the 80s might recognize the Hampton Pirates of this era because right before Marquetti got there, Rick Mahorn had been playing there, and he was probably the best big man in Hampton's history, which, to be fair, probably not saying a lot. It's not like they're like some world beating team, right? But still, Rick Mahorn, a very solid NBA player, uh, is it the Pistons? I might have that backwards. I think it's the Pistons, but he definitely was like a very solid player in the 80s in the
Okay.
NBA and had been their best player ever. So they get this new guy in, and Marquetti's there. He's also there. There's another guy there that's also pretty good. So Marquetti is playing power forward where he wants to play. And that first year, he led the team in rebounding with nearly 10 rebounds a night and was their second leading scorer with 16 per game. So looking pretty good,
Yep.
right?
Love it. Love it.
He
On the way.
he'd proved, hey, I can play at this level, but you know what? I think it's time for me to do something more. So here's where things get unfortunate for him, and it's kind of a tale of the 80s, the 70s, the 80s until I don't really know when exactly it switched, but in ahead of the 1981 draft, he claimed hardship status, which basically means like I'm going to jump to the NBA a year early. It's I'm going to go and go try to join an NBA team now. Nowadays, if you declare for the draft, or well, it's kind of I don't know. I'm probably going to get it wrong. I don't know the exact specifics, but there are ways to go back to college
Okay.
after
Yeah.
you've tried out to see what's going to happen. And especially there was a period where like I think you could even get drafted and go back to school, right?
Yeah. You can
Um,
like put feelers out there
yeah,
and then be like, never mind.
but in his day, it was basically like if you declare for the draft and enter the draft, you're done. Like you can't ever come back.
Okay.
And also, the team controls your contract. It's very hard to like go play certain pro places. There's a lot of like barriers to people in that time. And it's not just Marquetti. It happened to a lot of guys that just got drafted by teams that ended up not wanting them, and then they had trouble like doing. It was all a bad deal. I'm not saying like, oh, Marquetti could have been like the greatest player of all time or anything. I'm just saying like he kind of got done a little dirty, but also kind of his own fault to some degree for like
Yeah.
leaving. Maybe he should have come back another year. Anyways, long story short, the Spurs picked him, and this is wild that they used to do this, 199th overall.
Hmm.
Nowadays, there's
That's
what, like 60 draft picks?
right. And that feels
199th.
like too many.
Yeah. So the Spurs, I think it's like the ninth round, the Spurs picked him,
Oh
but
my
Marquetti
gosh.
never, he didn't make the team. He didn't ever play in the NBA.
Wow.
Instead, he spent a few seasons playing in Mexico. And when he came back to the United States, he started working in security. He then went to the police academy and got his police certification to become a police officer. He got married,
Okay.
he got divorced. After the divorce, he moved to Florida. After he moved to Florida, his ex wife moved to Florida to follow him and then realized it wasn't going to work out and moved back home. He had a kid he hardly ever saw named Corey. And in 1998, where the story really starts, he started dating a woman. And again, I'm going to mispronounce this, could not find a good pronunciation for this one, named, okay, I never have to say her first name again. I just refer to her by her
Yeah.
surname, which is
You can do
also
this.
a little confusing, but it looks to me like Siglinde. Siglinde.
Yeah.
Siglinde.
Yeah, I love that. Beautiful name.
Siglinde Serber.
Okay.
So he's dating this new girl. It's the late 90s. Everybody's making money. The couple eventually moved in together, buying a house in 2007. Not probably the time you want to be buying a new house, to be fair,
Mm, that's true. Yep.
but they didn't know that at the time.
Yeah.
And they didn't, not at that time they wanted to buy a house for multiple reasons, as we'll get into, but the housing crash definitely was not going to be good to them. However, when they moved in, Serber started to notice a few oddities about Marchetti. Now, some of these are
Okay.
going to feel a little too close to home, so I apologize to you, Dave.
Oh
He
no.
was a hoarder.
Hmm.
He kept old newspapers that he never needed, grocery receipts from years ago that who could ever use that, and piles of old computer parts and cables that he had no use for. And that obsessiveness over collecting things and wanting to have everything that he'd ever had in his life extended to their relationship. And after about a year and a half, so he's very obsessive, and after about a year and a half in the house, the relationship deteriorated. Marchetti moved into a separate bedroom instead of moving out immediately. In that room, he was just alone all the time, and his jealousy led him into a deep downward spiral. One day, Serber discovered a baby monitor under her bed.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
She asked Marchetti about it, and he admitted to her that he had placed it there so he could monitor who she was talking to on the phone from his room.
Great. That's normal behavior.
Soon after, she found a hidden camera in the garage to keep track of anyone coming into their house. And then in 2009, and you can't laugh at this because it's going to get serious. You can laugh now, but it's going to get serious soon.
Okay.
Serber hired a man named Michael Hurlbutt
Okay. You can laugh at the name. That's unrelated to how insane this story is.
to do a few repairs on their house. At the time, she was raising Great Danes, and I think she was like a dog trainer and like she just raised dogs. It was like her job basically.
Okay. Yep.
And so I think what actually, I mean, I put, she was told him she was going to give him one of the puppies for the work he did on their house. But I think what kind of actually happened was she had given him a puppy before, like sold him a puppy, and then it passed away or something happened. And so she was going to
Okay.
give him a new puppy. I don't know. I got some conflicting reports there, but one way or the other,
Either way.
he was getting a new puppy.
Yeah.
Marchetti heard about Hurlbutt coming over to their house from a neighbor who was gossiping about uh, Serber and Hurlbutt potentially having a
Oh
relationship.
my gosh. Shut your mouth, neighbor. What's your problem?
And so then Marchetti went and confronted Serber. During the argument, Serber described him as a bull in a ring. He was ranting, raving, panting, and then at one point he lost control, grabbed her by her hair, and threw her against the wall. Now, thankfully, it didn't escalate beyond that at that point, but she insisted after the incident that he move out of the house. She didn't want to be living with him anymore, which,
Yeah, I mean the fact that
valid.
we waited until after the baby monitor, like that should have been that's enough right there.
Yeah, if this lady was on Best of Redditors, updates or whatever, or relationship advice, they would be moving out immediately. Please get rid of this man.
Absolutely.
Even when Marchetti moved to an apartment, the harassment did not let up. He was
God.
calling Serber constantly. He never threatened her, but he barely let her know a moment's peace. So phone records later would reveal that he was calling her dozens, if not hundreds of times per day.
Good Lord.
On March 25th,
Lock
2010,
him up.
on March 25th, 2010, Serber and Hurlbutt had just returned to Serber's house after delivering a sick Great Dane to a University of Florida vet. Marchetti, who had recently gotten a new holster for his handgun,
Oh
was
my
planning to
gosh.
go fishing, but had left his folding chair and fishing bucket back at Serber's house where he used to live.
He wasn't planning on nothing.
Now,
Liar.
now, while you might be wondering why I specifically mentioned that he had his holster. So
Oh yeah.
previously, Marchetti says that he always carried his gun in his trunk while traveling. I mean, he is a trained policeman, so I'm not saying like everybody should have guns, but I am saying like it makes sense to me that a policeman would still have a gun, whether he
Okay.
was active duty or not. But he left it in his trunk. But recently, like a couple of months before, he had gotten, or not a couple of weeks before, he'd gotten a new holster. So he was trying to get used to it, right? He was trying to get used to the, what's it, not concealed carry, what's it called?
Open carry?
Open carry, sorry. He was trying to get used to just having the gun on his hip at all times. So the gun was up front with him, but it was uncomfortable where he was sitting. So he laid it down on the floorboard next to him, but it was still well within reach, right? It's not like a
Okay.
thing where, oh, if I get into road rage, I have to go get into my car and pull out a gun to shoot you. It's like if I got into road rage, I could just grab my gun and shoot you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Serber was sitting on her porch that morning, waiting for Hurlbutt to join her because he had gone inside to wash his hands. She saw Marchetti's car pull up to the driveway, probably pretty annoyed that he was coming by again. She didn't really want to deal with him, I would assume. This is me editorializing a little bit. And as Marchetti was pulling in, Hurlbutt walked outside to the porch. Marchetti saw Hurlbutt and his ex-girlfriend together, and something snapped. Now, before we go any further, it's very important to note that there's never ever been anything other than Marchetti's delusions that suggested that Hurlbutt and Serber were in any type of romantic relationship.
And the neighbor, nosy
What?
neighbor. You
Uh-oh,
said the
you cut
nosy
out.
neighbor may have been intimating.
Yeah, sorry. Well, I guess yeah, the neighbor. And in fact, but the neighbor might have been intimating, but Serber had a girlfriend at the time,
Okay.
right? But that did not
Yeah.
matter to Marchetti at all. Didn't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
Saw them outside together at the house he used to live at that he bought with his ex-girlfriend
Mm-hmm.
3 years prior, and he jumped from his car, raced across the lawn before Serber or Hurlbutt could react. As soon as he reached the porch, he pulled out his gun and he fired a round right into Hurlbutt's chest
Oh
without
my
saying a
gosh.
single word.
What a nut.
The handyman's body slumped to the floor, and Marchetti stood over him. He was panting from the sprint, but calmly fired two more shots into Hurlbutt. Then he stepped to the side, looked at Hurlbutt one last time, and fired one last shot into his victim. So 4 shots.
Yeah. Golly. Okay.
Now,
Like we needed more evidence. This man's a nut, but
yeah. Medical examiners would later say that Hurlbutt was likely dead within seconds, but when Marchetti turned the gun on Serber as she pulled out her phone to call the police, she did everything she could to try to get him to calm down. She said, "We can have to save him. We can save Michael. We can save our relationship. I'll get you a lawyer. It's going to be okay." She said all these things that she would later come out in the trial, things she said to him to try to get him to calm down, put his gun down, and just figure something out, right? Like,
yeah.
hopefully we can still get this. We can, maybe we can make this right. Marchetti did not shoot her. He took her phone, put it in his pocket, and then he just stood there for several minutes. And finally, I'm assuming, again, I'm editorializing a little here, the gravity of the situation laid on him. He realized what happened. He walked away and dialed 911 himself. 911, sorry. In 2011, Marchetti's case went to trial. He was convicted by a jury of first-degree murder, aggravated battery, and false imprisonment. Soon after, he was sentenced to life in prison without parole. After the trial, Hurlbutt's father, James, called Marchetti, quote, a coward, a weak, cruel murderer who will die a coward's death. Marchetti gave
Yes.
no reaction to the Marchetti gave no reaction to the verdict. His public defender told members that Marquetti believed that, quote, no words, no apologies could take away from the grief you are feeling. Now, I don't want to leave you on a complete down note. There isn't, I won't say there's a positive to the story because, of course, a man died for literally no reason. But, um, well, I'll just read my last thing here to kind of it's not uplifting, but it is at least a little bit better for one member of the Marquetti family. Because in 2014, Marquetti's nephew Malik followed in his basketball footsteps.
Okay, good, 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 good.
The 6'6 guard started his college career at USC. Similar to his uncle, he transferred after 2 years, finishing his college career as a 15 points a night scorer for the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns in the Sun Belt.
Okay,
He wasn't
fun.
drafted and never played in the NBA, but did carve out a solid career overseas, spending time in Argentina, Portugal, and Azerbaijan. So,
Okay.
at least we got a little something there at the end. But yeah,
I was
that
just thinking when like you're too short to make it, you should just go play overseas, you know?
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of guys. I mean, he this at least Malik switched. He played guard, right? So 6'6", he
Yeah.
definitely could have. He was tall enough. But yeah, and I think that a lot about guys. You know, to just completely jump off the murder thing. Uh, I think that a lot about like how many guys have dads who were, and this is me projecting a little bit, have dads who were like 6'3", 6'4", but they played at a small school, so they had to play center.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
like, if you really wanted your kid to succeed, if you're like, oh, my kid's going to go play basketball, you should not be like, oh, they're going to play center, right?
Right.
Like, there was no chance. I played center my entire life. There was no chance my 6'2" ass was going to be playing Division II basketball as a center,
Right.
you know. But
Yeah.
I'm the tallest kid in my class and one of the tallest kids in my school, so I'm going to be playing center, whether no matter what. So I do think I think that's changed a lot recently, which is good. But I do think that was very common for a long
Yeah.
time was like you're the tallest kid here, so you have to play center, even if like that is the worst thing for you to do beyond high school.
Yeah. Yeah. That was, I remember being taught like rebounding is the most like important. Like you need to work on all the defensive fundamentals and that will keep you in the game, which is
Yeah.
true until you get to high school and then everyone's as tall as you
Yeah.
and everyone can shoot better than you.
Yeah.
And I'm not, I blame myself for not working harder, but
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I didn't really
like,
want to play basketball, but I'm just saying, like, if I had been like, oh, I'm going to be serious, I should have just been training as a guard my whole life. Of
yeah,
course, you never know how big your kid's going to be, so that's also part of it.
I remember like thinking about it. Should I go like talk to coach and be like, but I really can like rebound a lot, you know?
I can rebound really. I
I
might
know
only
those
be.
other guys are like 6 inches taller than me, but if you see
I
me
can.
box them out,
Yeah, I can box out real well. All right. So today's sources were the main sources I used were the Los Angeles Times, the UPI, the Winston-Salem Journal, our God and Savior basketball reference, Tampa Bay Times, and a YouTube channel called Red Tree Stories. I don't really know what they do, but they had the full confession of Marquetti played with the police, and it was like
interesting.
35 minutes of him confessing, and every once in a while you'd hear some terrible AI voiceover and talk about like trying to diagnose his psychology. So
Hmm.
if you
Okay.
want to watch that, it has like 800,000 views.
Yeah,
So,
everybody check it out.
but they're doing much better than I am. So, all right, so that's all for this week, unless you have something from modern NBA you want to talk about. But we will have a much more happy episode next time, I'm thinking. I think we'll do
Great.
a positive basketball story instead of
I was gonna
another
say it felt
murder.
like we got out of the ABA and jumped straight back into like a bunch of darkness. I was literally gonna say like I'm excited that bracket corner is right around the calendar because I'm already getting sad.
Yeah, I wanted to do a couple tough ones before we move back to some fun ones. But yeah, I have a lot of. I mean, the thing I like about this podcast, right? There's a couple other podcasts I know of that just do like crime and sports. I think that's actually literally a podcast name that's very
Hmm.
popular called Crime and Sports.
Hmm.
Um, and it's literally all about crime. I wanted to do some positive stories as well, right? So we'll
Yeah.
jump back and forth, but I did want to do a couple of bad ones since we had so much. I mean, some of the ABA was pretty wild, but we
Yeah.
we had a
You're
lot
a
of.
great host. Don't let anybody tell you different.
Oh, thank you. Wow, can't believe it. I mean, it's low praise coming from someone who is on the podcast with you, but still, I'll take it. All right, we are going to get out of here. We will see you in a couple of weeks. We might be a little late with the next episode. I have to travel to
Hmm.
another country soon. So we'll see how that goes. We'll try to make it happen, but it might be a little late next time. But we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Goodbye.
Peace.